Posse Army. This is Danny Lee, OGT. This may be unlike any other Australian reaction I've ever done. For one, I'm going to be doing Mr. Farnsey there. Well, trying out of the way. Mr. Farnsey. Love me some John. I've always said that a lot of singers have helped me see the light through darkness, through dark songs, dark thoughts, dark times. And that John isn't the only artist who ever let me consistently see lightness through the light, through happy music. I love happy music, don't get me wrong. No certain artist has ever been able to do that consistently, other than John. There are a lot of artists that make me happy, don't get me wrong. There aren't a lot of artists who have entered my top 20 as fast as John Farnham has. And I'm not going to rank any further than that. If you make my top 20, you are very close to my heart. And John is. And, you know, most days on this planet we live on, whatever, is, they're good. A lot of great days. There are also a lot of darker days. Through peace, through love, understanding. We understand all these things are great. Sometimes, like no different than when Van Gogh painted this. He was in horrible, horrible torture inside of his mind, painting this only with his remembrance of what beauty looked like, what light looked like the red, white, and blue. But every day can't be that way. Some days are going to be dark. Some days it's going to feel like there's a storm, a force of nature interrupting everything good. Maybe even violence, something bad, something that seems unescapable, like the nothing in the never-ending story. You may seek out spiritual guidance. You may seek out singers to help you sing a song. Even if you're introverted, like OGL, you may be willing to discuss Tool. A few little lyrics here from Tool. There's something kind of sad about the way things have come to be. Desensitized to everything, what became of subtlety. How can this mean anything to me if I really don't feel anything at all? I feel like after reading these lyrics, that's kind of where John was. I'll go ahead and read these lyrics. Up to a point where I had to look something up. It is all the same to you. If it is all the same to you, I'd just as soon not come to see you anymore. You're not giving, I'm not taking. I'm like a salesman with one foot inside the door. Well, I seem to get that feeling. That I'm filling in for someone else's time, trapped inside a prison with no walls. Just like a Marcio mom. Now I had to look this up. Marcio was a French mime artist, most famous for his stage persona, Bit the Clown. Referred to him as a mime. He referred to mime, the art of mime, as the art of silence. He performed professionally for over 60 years. Jewish descent. I didn't think that was enough of a reason for John to include him in one of his only dark songs, or a song so dark. So I kept searching until I came upon this. In fact, his mime skills were not born of a theater, but out of an existential threat, a necessity to keep children entertained and quiet as the invading patrols of the World War II, we'll call it Yahtzee, on the way to the Swiss border. Then I understood why John picked him. I didn't need to know no more. Let me out. Scream and shout, let me out. I'm not waiting until you're finished, so let me out. If it's all the same to you, just let, I think this says is, but I think it means just let it. I don't know why it says is. Just let it go at that. It's over, nothing more. Well, I'm pushing it uphill, so let it be. I'm on a losing streak. I've lost before. Don't try to cover up the fact. You're using me to play with while you wait. Just let me out. I'm getting mad. I know I started this reaction with a couple Tool lyrics. It's probably OGL there. But I've always wanted to find some kind of reference point between Lane Staley and John Farnham, besides they were really humble guys with great voices. Maybe, the greatest voice in their time at what they've done. And I finally found one. You'd be surprised how close love is to hate. Well, I'm sure John wrote this song first, but one of Alice in Chains' earlier songs, and if you were a huge follower of Alice in Chains or a Lane Staley fanboy, because it's not their most popular, but within the hardcore fan base of this group, of this man, Lane Staley, the song Love, Hate, Love is probably the most personal. Love, Hate, Love was a tumultuous relationship. They had a lot of cheating that went both ways. Sometimes it was one's fault, sometimes it was the other. It doesn't seem like John had a lot of faults in this. And, you could say Lane didn't either, as he was on the road while a lot of this happened. So most of his was get back. And then her life was taken from complications for using drugs, the same way Lane's would years later. So I finally found a link to John, Lane, and Maynard, which means a lot to me personally. It might not mean jack shit to anybody else. Let me out. Scream and shout. Let me out. I'm not waiting until you're finished. Scream and shout. Let me out. Not waiting until you're finished. Over and over and over. So, I'm really ready. Really ready to hear the song. And, I'm not mad or upset or sad. I just X'd out John's song. I have to go back. And y'all probably didn't see any of that, did you? Lord have mercy. Okay, I decided I'm just going to go back and put the lyrics in because I forgot to present the part that had the lyrics. So you didn't get to see none of that. You heard it either way. You see my face. But I'll put the lyrics there where you can see it. I'm sorry this is taking so long. This says, this song found me at the right time. So thank you, Deborah. This is one of the first channel members. And we thank you for that. She's always there to listen to songs like Alice in Chains, Tool. And I don't expect no one to do that. But it warms my heart when I see people do it. Also warms my heart when people just watch our videos in general. So we are going to share this. And this is a 4.3 video you see here. So I'm going to put me here. You know what? Hold on. All right, I got it right. Sorry about that. Let's get to it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This one's from the album. It's one that I wrote. It's probably the dark side of me, really. It's called Let Me Out. If it's all the same to you, I'd just as soon not come to see you anymore. You're not giving, I'm not taking. I'm like a salesman with one foot inside the door. But I seem to get the feeling that I'm filling in for someone else's time. Trapped inside a prison with no walls, just like the Marcel, my soul mine. Let me out. Scream and shout, let me out. Let me out. I'm not waiting until you eventually let me out. If it's all the same to you, just let it go with that. It's all and nothing more. Well, I'm pushing it uphill, so let it be. I'm on a losing streak, I've lost before. Don't try to cover up the fact you're using me to play with while you wait. Just let me out, I'm getting mad. You'd be surprised how close stuff is.
Ooh. Good Lord, those drums are nasty. Also the saxophones. The trumpets, I think there were trumpets in there. I was just encapsulated with John there. He didn't really try to do any fancy mic tricks. He is singing a more upbeat melody than the song's lyrics are, but that is pretty much a constant in music. I'm trying to rewrite the song Last Kiss. I don't know if you heard it. It's an older song. Pearl Jam redid it. Where can my baby be? The Lord took her away from me. Gotta go to heaven. Gotta be good so I can go to heaven so I can see her, or something like that. I've redone it, made it kind of darker. So it's okay that the lyrics are upbeat. I like that. I don't expect anything different from John. He's such a good-hearted person. You know, unless you're there to see him in that car beating the, you know, probably the dashboard when there wasn't no kids looking, kicking it, maybe pulling his own hair out for real. Unless you were there to see that time, which I don't think anyone was. I don't think you could imagine John that way. I'm not sure John could. Okay, so John can sing anything. And John can go to them dark places and write music. I guess when I was saying, and this is just a comment to you, Deb, because I don't know who else was watching this that remember it, but when I said John wasn't your man to go to a dark song. John's not your man to make you feel the darkness within his voice. That's all I meant. Not saying he couldn't, but he would have to be faking it in a way, because that's just not in his DNA. But I love that, because as John will tell you first, I believe no one's perfect, and no one's the best at anything. You can be great at anything. You can have a whole country by your side, or a whole world, and then someone come along better. They always do. It's called changing of the guard. And but when I first experienced John, I was in my older days, which is just about a year ago. We're just celebrating our year anniversary, which was it's only been like 14 days ago since we done the first song, which was Please Don't Ask Me. And then we done the song that I can never remember the name of by Olivia and John at the Olympics. And then somebody mentioned Cold Chisel. And then we done Anzac Day, which is coming up for too long. And Lane Staley's death day just went by, the 5th of this month. So it's yeah, we'll get back to it. I'd like to start it over. Yeah, there's saxophones and prayer and trumpets, both.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This one's from the album. It's one that I wrote.
That is that like xylophones maybe? That reminds me of like the Karate Kid movie. Just pieces. I remember that sound in one of the Karate Kid bits where he damn signed up something karate crane kick somebody.
It's probably the dark side of me, really. It's called Let Me Out. If it's all the same to you, I'd just as soon not come to see you anymore. You're not giving, I'm not taking. I'm like a salesman with one foot inside the door. Well, I seem to get the feeling that I'm filling in for someone else's time. Trapped inside a prison with no walls, just like a moss cell, my soul mine. Let me out. Scream and shout, let me out. Let me out. I'm not waiting until you're finished. Let me out, let me out. If it's all the same to you, just let it go and that's all and nothing more.
I love the way they bring that back. Right back to the initial groove with that little kick. It's like, you know, that was kicking the other half of the problem out the door, the ego, the sadness. He doesn't necessarily have to be talking to a person. He can be talking to himself even. I have had to remind myself of all the dark holes I went down to try to find the light and find balance and keep my ego in check, because I can't get rid of it. As far as I know, none of us can. In my eyes, that's the proverbial good and evil, the two on the shoulder. There's that gut intuition, and there's that ego over there telling you, oh, no, it's okay, do it. Your gut's telling you, no, man, don't do that. It ain't right. You know it. All right.
Well, I'm pushing it uphill, so let it be. I'm on a losing streak. I've lost before. Don't try to cover up the fact you're using me to play with while you wait. Just let me out, I'm getting mad. You'd be surprised how close stuff is. Yeah. Let me out, step outside, let me out, let me out. Let me out. I'm not waiting until you finish, let me out, let me out. Brett Gossett on the guitar, folks, please.
Okay, sorry, my mic was off. Sounds like some Floyd's fixing to happen, which would make sense with this song. Let me go back real quick. I think that when John just belts up into the stratosphere seamlessly, of course, I think that may have been like the scream that has not been so much in tune, the scream in his own head sometimes during these times, and that's letting it out.
Let me out, step outside, let me out, let me out. Let me out. I'm not waiting until you finish, let me out, let me out. Brett Gossett on the guitar, folks, please.
Clap with him, son of a bitch. That was so good. Oh, that's what I did. That's it. That is. Oh, that's the one thing I never really get from. I don't want to say this in a bad way. That's the one thing that the Australian music doesn't lack. I don't want to say this in a bad way, but there are instrumentals that can make you feel. You know, a good example is Toll, of course. They can make you feel what the words are saying, even if it's a long stretch in between the words. I'm not saying Australian players cannot play their music. Please don't. Their instruments. That's not what I meant. Oh, John Bonamassa, Diesel, Ian, they're all great in their own right. So, Spider Farm, not Spider Farm, what the hell? Spider Bait, I'm not trying to defend myself here. What this was more like atmospheric, like Floyd, Zeppelin sometimes, Sabbath at times, Tool. There aren't a whole lot of bands you could put in there, okay? The cat from Australia that made the damn acid song back in the day. Anyway, that was like it was twisting your insides and taking you on this roller coaster that seemed to dip into the lower register, to the harshness, and almost like you're keeping your head above water, drowning and popping out, and then all of a sudden, bam, like a dolphin, he jumped out of the water, and John started singing. It was blue skies, and there was that silver lining. Or that was that, and that there's always a silver. It's always a touch of gray. There was always a silver lining, every touch of whatever the hell the Grateful Dead. I don't even like them that good. I'm sorry, it's such a long reaction. I have heard of this gentleman. I can't place him. Maybe Foreigner or something, maybe. I don't want to say he's from an American band. But he may be from an American band. I don't know. Let me know in the comments.
Brett Gossett on the guitar, folks.
Real quick, the tension was built so much in those chords, and he kept creeping his way up the neck of the guitar and creeping his way down the strings, which is steadily getting more and more tension. At the very end, he used that string bend beautifully to almost create the whammy bar type effect, and then back to John saying, "Let me out," and then everybody else, all the horns, all the instruments, except for I think the keyboard guy there, he's hitting some notes here and there. Everybody else is just keeping this. Wow, that guitar solo is going on. And then when he does that string bend and comes out of it, it's like, the clouds lifted. It's raining on a sunny day, or there's a sunny day, took away the rain, whatever, man. I'm blown away by this. Just a little bit there. That last little string bend. So Whispering Jack, did he go back and do some of his Whispering Jack stuff? Was this right after that moment of turmoil when Glenn put up his house and everything to bring John back? Was this right before that? I didn't pay attention when it was loaded. I subscribed, and there was one from John's Whispering Jack page, but honestly, it wasn't as good. The audio wasn't near as good. Let's read this first comment. Maybe for nothing, but I used to work at a news agency in 2012. And I had a dude come in asking for the latest issue of Guitar Magazine. He said there was a story in it about him. I looked up, focused on it. It was Brett Karst. If I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. At first, I didn't recognize him and apologized for not doing so right away. So we chatted for a few minutes, and man, what a great dude. He spoke glowingly about Farnham and told me about projects he was currently working on. After all that, I found the magazine. Sure enough, the article was right there. This was at News Express, Water Gardens, and Taylor's Lake in Melbourne. It's a great story. I know I type slow. So yeah, I guess that's gonna do it. I know you've never really seen a reaction like this from me. It's beautiful. Take your dark days, your starry nights, with the perception of your eyes, turn into peace. Little by little, day by day. That's all we need. There are ways to support the channel. You can be a channel member. There are two different tiers now. One is $1.99 a month. The other is $4.99 a month. The only difference in the two tiers is the one tier, you cannot be a part of the live streams, which until more people come, you can anyway. So my advice would be to get the $1.99. You are more or less wasting your money, or not wasting it, but if you're doing the $4.99, the other money will go to support the channel. My advice is get the $1.99. I release all of my videos that are blocked early. I release all the videos early. I put stuff on there that is just for members and channel members, and a channel member can have us react to anything, even something we've already heard. We are going to do American Pie for Debbie and gymnastics, because gymnastics had me do the oh my goodness, the song I just did. Man, come on, really? This song got me messed up, y'all. That's not my excuse, but McClendon or something. Don McLean. Oh, the Vincent Starry Night. That's why I had that background. It was all about him being, in terrible mental condition when he wrote that. The Starry Night. So, much love. Mental health is real. If you're having a bad day, that's probably allowing someone else in the universe to have a good day. So don't look at it as a missed opportunity. If you don't embrace that bad day, you may miss an opportunity. After all, there are some really terrible things that happen. I use an analogy a lot of a young girl who is an aspiring ballerina, has already pretty much broke every record, is going to be the GOAT already at a young age. There's pretty much no holding her back. Very smart, makes good grades. But during a practice or during something, falls and damages her ankle in a way that makes it where she can never be that goat, that ballerina, that wonderful thing that everyone had pretty much already taken for granted. And everybody's down, and it's a terrible thing. It's evil, the devil, whatever label you want to put on it, done it. Well, if she grows up 10 years, 20 years later, and with that knowledge and that terrible thing she went through, if she embraces it and she builds a prosthetic that allows every other child from then on out that has this same type of injury to go on and with their dreams and be that ballerina that they were going to be anyway, then that evil, dark thing that everyone complained and cried and looked at as so horrible, all of a sudden has been one of the most beautiful things in humanity. Most all beautiful stories with happy endings come from tragedy. And most people who have not experienced any sort of tragedy and had a fairly uneventful life negatively seem to be unhappy, like they're missing something. So I think it's a fundamental part of us growing, understanding our feelings are random. We cannot control them no more than we can Mother Nature. And that Mother Nature brings our feelings just like the rain or the sun, randomly. You have weather forecasters that try to predict it. You have psychologists that try to predict your feelings. And in my opinion, both of those jobs are very important. I respect the people who go on these endeavors to be meteorologists or psychiatrists. I also think they're just giving their guesses. Maybe it's an educated guess, yes, a hypothesis. All right, 37 minutes, I'm sorry, guys. Much love, Australia, much love, Kiwis, much love anyone else watching. Much love, OG team, Aussie Army. Thank you, John Farnham, Lane Staley, and Maynard James Keenan, personally. Much love, everyone.